The weight of invisible hands. There are moments in life when we think we see people we really see them, only to discover we've been looking right through them all along. Marcus Wellington had built an empire on his ability to read people, to anticipate their moves, to understand what made them tick. He could negotiate billion-dollar deals with a handshake and spot a valuable opportunity from across a crowded room. But on a cold November evening, as he sat alone in his corner office on the 47th floor, watching his cleaning staff filter through the building like ghosts in the fluorescent light, he realized he had never truly seen any of them at all. Among them was a woman who moved differently than the others, a smaller, quieter, as though she was trying to disappear into the very walls she cleaned. Her name was Elena, and though she had worked in his building for nearly 2 years, he had never heard her voice. That was about to change in a way that would shatter everything he thought he knew about success, sacrifice, and the true measure of a person's worth. If this story touches your heart, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to Kindness Pulse so we can continue spreading stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Your support means everything. Marcus had always prided himself on being observant, but lately something had shifted inside him. His recent divorce, the emptiness of his penthouse, the hollow echo of his achievements, it had all left him questioning what truly mattered. That evening, as Elena quietly cleaned his office, he noticed for the first time the way she carefully arranged the items on his desk exactly as they had been, the gentleness with which she handled his things, as if they were precious treasures rather than the scattered debris of another exhausting day. When she finished and slipped out without a word, something compelled him to follow her. He couldn't explain why. Perhaps it was curiosity, perhaps loneliness, or perhaps it was the universe telling him he needed to wake up. He kept his distance as Elena left the gleaming tower and walked 6 blocks to the bus stop. She wore a thin jacket that did little against the biting wind, and she clutched it closed with one hand while the other gripped a worn canvas bag. Marcus followed in his town car, instructing his driver to stay far enough back to remain unnoticed. When Elena got off the bus in a neighborhood Marcus had never visited, a place where broken streetlights cast long shadows and chain-link fences guarded modest homes, he felt like he had crossed into another world entirely. She walked 3 more blocks before stopping at a small, weathered house with peeling paint and a sagging porch. But she didn't go inside. Instead, she sat on the steps, opened her bag, and pulled out a sandwich wrapped in napkins, probably leftovers from the building's cafeteria, and ate slowly, as if savoring every bite. Then the front door opened, and 3 children spilled out, laughing and calling Mama. They ranged in age from about 5 to 10, and they threw their arms around her with such fierce love that Marcus felt his throat tighten. Elena's face, which had been so carefully neutral in the office, transformed into pure radiance. She kissed each child's forehead, asked them about their day, and listened with the kind of attention Marcus couldn't remember receiving or giving in years. Then she stood, took their hands, and they walked together down the street. Marcus followed, his heart pounding with a mixture of shame and fascination. They stopped at a small community center where a handwritten sign announced free tutoring services. Elena didn't drop the children off and leave as she stayed, sitting at a table with the youngest, patiently helping him sound out words in a picture book. Her lips moved silently as she traced each letter with her finger, and Marcus suddenly understood something that made his chest ache. Elena was teaching her son to read because she was learning to read herself. For the next 2 hours, Marcus watched through the window as this woman who cleaned his office, who he had never bothered to acknowledge as fully human, poured everything she had into her children's future. When the session ended, they walked back home through the dark streets, and Elena pulled out a small notebook, practicing the words they had learned together. Marcus returned to his car with tears streaming down his face. The next morning, he arrived at the office before dawn and waited. When Elena came to clean, he was sitting at his desk. She froze when she saw him, fear flickering across her face as though she had done something wrong. "Please, don't be afraid," Marcus said gently. "I just want to talk to you. Will you sit for a moment?" Elena perched on the edge of a chair, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, "How long have you been working here?" he asked. "2 years, sir," she whispered, her accent thick but her words careful. "And before that?" She hesitated, then told him her story, how she had come to this country with nothing. How she worked 3 jobs to support her children after their father had abandoned them. How she was teaching herself to read so she could help them with their homework and maybe, someday, get a better job. She spoke of dreams deferred but never abandoned, of exhaustion that ran bone deep but never defeated her spirit, of loving her children so much that her own suffering became invisible. Marcus listened, truly listened, and felt the walls he had built around his heart crumble. Here was a woman worth 1,000 of him, not in money, but in the currency that actually mattered: courage, love, and unwavering dedication to something beyond herself. "Elena," he said, his voice breaking, "I want to help you, not as charity, but because you've already proven you're one of the hardest working people I've ever known. I'm going to fund your education, set up college accounts for your children, and offer you a position in our company's management training program. You'll earn it, I know you will, but I want to give you the chance you deserve." Elena stared at him, tears spilling down her cheeks, unable to speak. When she finally found her voice, she whispered, "Why?" Marcus smiled sadly. "Because you reminded me what success actually looks like. It's not the view from the 47th floor. It's what you do when no one is watching. It's the love you give when you have nothing left. It's you, Elena. You're what I spent my whole life trying to become, and I was too blind to see it." If Elena's story moved you, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Pulse. Share this in the comments. Who is the Elena in your life? He is someone whose strength and sacrifice often goes unnoticed. Let's celebrate them together. 2 years later, Marcus stood in a university auditorium, watching Elena walk across the stage to receive her associate degree, her 3 children cheering wildly in the front row. She had become a manager in his company's operations department, her insights and dedication earning her the respect of everyone she worked with. But more than that, she had changed Marcus in ways he was still discovering. He had learned to see people he really see them, and in doing so, he had finally learned to see himself. The billionaire had followed his shy cleaner and discovered that the greatest wealth isn't counted in dollars, but in the quiet dignity of those who love without limit and persevere without recognition. And sometimes, if we're lucky, we get the chance to witness that wealth and honor it the way it deserves. That's when we truly become rich.